All right.
Good.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody who's here tonight. This is the Westwood Select Board. It is Monday, June 3rd, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we have a couple of great things to start our evening off. First, I'm just going to, one more thank you to everybody who helped organize the Memorial Day Parade and program. It was a tremendous success. The clouds were gone, the sun was shining, but besides that, it was a beautiful program, so I want to thank everybody who helped make that possible. Okay, so first up, Madeline. Why don't you come sit up here? You can bring your mom or your troop leader, whatever you'd like. Stay close.
Come on, Joan,
So-
you're not shy.
We'd like to welcome Madeline Morgan here tonight. She has earned her Gold Award as a Girl Scout. And let me just start by saying, way to go, because we've had so many wonderful young men earn their Eagle Scout, but we don't hear enough about the young women who achieve what you have. So first of all, congratulations to you. That's really well done. So let me tell you what she accomplished to get this award, because I think it's very impressive. So Madeline or Madeline?
Madeline.
Madeline. Earned her Gold Award by creating a STEM club for middle school girls. And for those of you who don't know, but I'm sure most do, that STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. So pretty soon you're going to put an A in that for art, because that's STEAM, and that's also very important. So as a mother of STEM kids and an artist, STEAM is a great thing. And what she's done is put together a wonderful program and even designed it so it will stay on past your time here in Westwood when you go on to college and do other great things. What was done through this project is addressing the imbalance of women entering the STEM field career and the lack of hands-on activities in local schools. And is it this coming, last August you hosted a 4-day STEM event? And that was for middle school girls, and there were fun projects, engineering, computer science, research, chemistry, all were great. And I want to tell you a story. Just recently I was talking to a friend's daughter who graduated from college with a computer science major. And she's working with Google. And all the people she works with are men. And she's okay with that, but she's looking around saying, where are the other women? So it's still a field that doesn't have enough equity. So do what you're thinking of doing and you'll get in there too, and you can join people like that and bring the other perspective to all this great stuff that's going on in computer science, if that's the field you choose. But I just thought it was very interesting. We would think that maybe that had changed by now, but it's still going through change, and people like you are still pioneers, which I think is awesome. So you're going to have an event in Boston. That's where you'll get your actual Gold Award?
Yes.
With other Girl
State
Scouts?
House, yeah.
That's awesome. When's that going to take place?
June 14.
Excellent. Wow, very impressive. Gentlemen?
Yeah, congratulations. You know, there's not much more to say. It is very impressive. And I know it takes a lot of work. I know it takes a lot of work for Mom, too. So.
And the troop, everything.
Congratulations, Maddie.
Thank you.
That's awesome. So next year you're going to be applying to schools?
Yes,
You're
I
going to
will
be a
be.
senior? That's awesome. If I can be of any help, let me know. So we want to take a picture, but one more round of applause for Madeline. Anything you want to add? No? You're all set? Okay. Why don't we take a
Never lost for
picture?
words. Come on.
Believe it or not, I don't like these things.
Okay. That's all right. Just so you know. Let's take a picture. And we have actually a commendation for you. So we'll give that to you this evening. So this is for you.
Thank you.
Get a picture. Sorry.
Mom knows she's already been in. She's got
Yeah.
the better angle.
I know, I'm going with the lighting, right? All right, very good, thank you. Thank you.
Come on, step right up.
Please.
Don't be shy. Come and get the photo.
I got it, okay, thank you.
Oh, hold on.
All right, so we'll go. The Bruins are on at 8. Come on.
Let's
Oh,
be
yeah,
real.
that's the other thing.
Clock doesn't drop till 8:23, don't worry, we got plenty of time.
You already know that.
Message received. Okay. So,
Just for the record, guess who has game 5?
Yeah, but. Okay, so our other big news tonight. Chief Deckers, you want to join us? So when we hired Chief Deckers about a year and a half ago, one of the things he told us was, yeah, I want to get more diversity in the fire department. And he, without even being asked, said, and we need to get women on the fire department. And we're here tonight with our new firefighter, Mackenzie. So we're really happy to have you. And Chief, I'm going to turn it to you and let you tell us highlights about Mackenzie and why you hired her to the Westwood Fire Department.
Okay, so I wrote up something so I wouldn't forget. I'll give you a copy when I'm done.
It's all yours.
Firefighter Mackenzie Wright officially began her career with the Westwood Fire Department in early 2018 as a third rider in our ambulance. Now, what a third rider is a individual who comes to us from a school, local paramedic school, looking for hours. So it's like at the last phase of their training, and they have to get hours and skills, and Mackenzie was able to pick up a lot. I mean, she was almost like a target for things to happen. So she picked up a lot of time, and also the skill sets helped her refine her skill sets and the clinical hours. So from the very beginning, we were very impressed with Mackenzie and her skills. However, we weren't sure that Mackenzie had any interest in the fire service, because every time I talked to her, she was talking about going to the privates, and well, we couldn't have that. I mean, we wanted Mackenzie working for us, so we were trying to plant the seed. So we did. To get to the next page, I wrote a book. So Mackenzie did really well in our process. We weren't sure, like I said, we weren't sure, but at the last minute, she threw her name in and did really well. That's why she's sitting here today. Mackenzie started her first shift on January 6th, 2019, under the tutelage of Captain Mahan. Their group decided, amongst themselves, they pretty much can do a lot of their own thing. They wanted to make sure that Mackenzie was going to succeed at the academy. To do that, they wanted to make sure that she had all the right skills to go to the academy and do well. So she needed the skills and the ability to do it, which she did. That's why she's sitting here today, because she graduated on May 24th, and she really impressed not only her classmates, but her instructors, which was great news, because I was a little nervous, because if we stood up and if you were to look at us, the difference is probably about 3 feet.
A little height difference, yeah.
I would imagine, even as strong as she is, she's not pulling me out of a fire, so I don't go in that often, so that I don't have to get pulled out. But what amazed me was that early on, I got news that the Westwood Fire Department had hired a rock star with her up there. They couldn't comment enough about Mackenzie, her skills, and she didn't disappoint. Like I said, I was a little nervous about her size, but what she lacked in size, she made up in sheer strength. Her background as a gymnast and a cheerleader proved that she has tremendous upper body strength, which you need to have as a firefighter. I included a picture in your packet, and if you look at all the firefighters, they're all there, and then Mackenzie's right there with everyone else. It's a really cool picture, and I think it sends a big picture for us. It doesn't matter your size, and for young women like yourself, I know you're heading down the science end of it, but if you wanted the fire service, anything is possible. She did really well, and she finished off her academic career at the academy with a 90.67 on her final exam. Did really, really well. One little funny story about Mackenzie. At the academy, they have this thing about deficiency points. You'll probably kill me for saying this, but
There we go.
and it
Mackenzie,
norm-
we can't get to stop talking either. Don't worry.
it's normally a situation where they're like gigging them, and it's to build camaraderie and skills and all that stuff. Well, Mackenzie came back, and I heard her at the firehouse complaining about one of the instructors giving her these deficiency points because she didn't yell out a command. And she was adamant that she had yelled out the command. I mean, she was adamant. She was angry.
Stand your ground.
Okay? I had never seen her angry, so I was staying out of the kitchen. And she was angry. But what did she learn from this? It was a very important thing, is you had to be more forceful and louder. In the rest of her time there, she was forceful and louder. So she learned from that. And that was the point behind the deficiency. But I thought it was really cute that she got so angry, and it just caused her to dig in. A lot of people would cause a lot of angst over that and just, check out. She didn't. She stood right in there and continued on. So for us, that's the stamina and everything that we're going to see from Mackenzie moving forward, and that's why I'm presenting her here today to you guys, the Select Board. She's got a bright future with the Westwood Fire Department, and we're looking forward to everything that she can do. So, welcome.
Boy. So Mackenzie, I have to say, I've seen you and I've driven by the fire station, already engaged and active. And one thing that Chief Deckers also said to us when we hired him is he would bring in new hires, promotions, so we could get to know you. And it's beyond amazing that you're here tonight. Louder, stronger, whatever you have to do, you're just going to be an all-star here. And I would say that for young women in the town, including you, it'd be great if, when you have a chance, when there are community programs, to have the young ladies see Mackenzie. And we hope you're the first of several to join the department. We have a great department. As you know, we've invested a lot in our fire station in Islington. When we need to do more in the main station, and public safety is the ultimate service we provide besides educating our youth. And Chief Deckers believes in that strongly, and he's already proven to be a great leader, so I think you're in a wonderful department and a great place to start this career. So we welcome you. I'm with you. John?
I would just say it's nice to meet you. I saw you progressing on social media. And the Westwood Fire Department does such great things, and the social media is one of them. But we do really look at a new hire as an investment. And so we've invested a lot in you, and I hope you have a great experience. And I can never say enough about the Westwood Fire Department and all the various events and just the day-to-day work. So I think you're part of a great team, and we're glad you're here.
Thank you, sir.
Well, welcome, Mackenzie, and as proud as we are to have you here, I can see that your whole family is very
Yes.
proud. They have the whole back row filled. So, and I'm disappointed. I thought everyone came to see us. But,
We'll know how to clear the room.
You got a great group. You got a great chief, and I'm sure they'll welcome you with open arms, and as will the town. So, congratulations. So glad that you made it.
Thank you, sir.
Anything you'd like to say?
I'm just happy to be welcomed. Excited for this new opportunity, and looking forward to learning more now that I'm on the job and going forward. And
We're very happy you chose the public sector over the private sector.
Me too.
Well done. Yeah. Thank you, Chief, for
Thank you.
not only this hire, but for hiring such an outstanding person. And that's really what it comes down to. So we wish you a very happy career here.
thank you.
Thank you for coming in. And for all of you, have a great celebration tonight. It's
Yes.
we're really thrilled.
You know, tell them they don't have to stay.
I am going to tell them. I'm going to do two things. One, I'm going to give Westwood Media Center permission to video tonight because I didn't do that at the top of the hour. You're all welcome to go out because we're going to go into some really stimulating business right now. And you really don't need to stay if you don't want to. Thank you and congratulations to everybody.
Thank you.
Have a nice night.
I'm leaving too.
Thanks, Chief.
All righty.
Okay, so one of the things that the Select Board does is handle licensing, and occasionally that includes changes of management for either restaurant or hotel, motel locations, and that's what we have up next. First, we're going to do the Courtyard. Are you guys the Courtyard? Okay. Why don't you come over? We're just taking
Stay
a little
right
out
there.
of
Stay
order,
right
so
there.
thank
Sit
you.
down
Yeah,
right
don't
there.
go far. So we have Nora Lockdane here, our Community and Economic Development Director. And we have,
Caitlin Barrett.
thank you, Caitlin, welcome. So this is for a change of manager, and Westwood Courtyard submitted an application to change the manager from Amber Papageorge Lampley to Caitlin Barrett. And this has gone through the normal alcohol review committee, which looks at licensing changes of manager, and they're bringing forth an affirmative recommendation for this change. Anything, Nora, that you want to add?
No, just the alcohol review committee anonymously recommend, or,
Unanimously?
know who you are.
Anonymously.
pending the ABCC approval. So if you
Okay.
could grant your approval subject to that.
And I just have a question, separate from Caitlin. Was this done in a timely manner by
Yes,
the
it was.
Courtyard?
So we were notified well over a week ago, find the exact date in here, but soon after the former manager left the employment of the company, we were notified that they were making a change, and then
Good,
when
okay.
Caitlin came on board.
Which is very important, that we hear of these things in a timely manner, so we do have the proper record. Gentlemen, any questions?
No? Girls are being very good.
Those phones are
How do you
great.
get them to do that?
I'll take a motion.
I move that we grant approval to the change of manager for Westwood Courtyard to Caitlin Barrett as the manager, pending ABCC approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, none. So, you're all set?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you
you.
for coming in.
And, Karen Flynn needs a copy of that,
Yep.
the first page.
Yeah,
If
she
you could
sent,
just-
she emailed me this morning, but I was already
Okay.
in the car, but
All
I'll
right,
send it to
if
her
you can just
tomorrow.
send it to her, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you again. Next up would be Anthony's Coal Fire Pizza. We also here have a change in manager, and let's see, the application was submitted to change the manager from Tracy Ann Goulet to Michael Fishman. Michael?
That'd be me.
Welcome. And similarly, Ms. Goulet is no longer employed with Anthony's Coal Fire Pizza, and Michael Fishman is coming in as the new manager. And again, we also have an affirmative recommendation to approve this.
Yes.
Anything else?
With the same condition that it be subject to ABCC approval.
And you're both here. Any issues? You're legal counsel, are you? You look like you'd be legal counsel. I don't know.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. Andrew Upton, on behalf of the Devlin Law Offices representing the licensee. We're very happy to present Mr. Fishman. He's well-qualified, well-experienced, and in fact, he worked at the Plain Ridge Casino as well as Anthony's Coal Fire Pizza before this, which is possibly the most highly regulated alcohol service place in the entire
You
state.
know what you're doing then.
We've got good
Oh, I
experience.
have seen it all at this point, yeah.
Seen it all and hopefully have control of it all,
Of
too.
course.
And the Anthony's Coal Fire Pizza is really a popular place in Westwood, and I hope you're finding that. And certainly we like having you at the University Station
Very happy to
site.
be there.
That's great. Okay. Any
I'm all
questions?
set.
Motion?
No questions. I move that we grant approval to the change of manager to Anthony's Coal-Fired Pizza to Michael Fishman, pending ABCC approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. And again, no timing issues? I
No,
should have
no
asked
time
before.
issues. We were
Okay.
notified right upon the change.
Correct way to do it. Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for
much.
coming in.
Thanks for coming.
And thank you for letting us take that out of turn. I appreciate it. Okay, and the third license agenda item we have is a one-day license request for Prime Porsche dealership. And for that, we have, who's here with us tonight? Yes.
So the person from Porsche?
David?
Yes.
Yeah, David Schwartz.
David Schwartz, thank you for joining us
Oh, it's
tonight.
always an honor to be here.
So this is for the Porsche dealership to have a special event on Monday, June 24th, that will take place from 6 to 8 p.m., an invitation-only event. Sky of Norwood, who has, I know, been doing the catering for other one-day events at the Prime
All of the
dealerships.
Prime.
Yeah,
Parties
Okay.
they seem to have a monopoly on.
Well, if it's working, that's
Exactly.
good. And Sky will get or has obtained a temporary food permit from our Board of Health. My one question, before I see if the board has any other questions, Nora, it says the event is 6 to 8, but the license will be enough time for setup and takedown. We usually specify the
before.
timing. And I didn't know,
And
does
it-
the license?
So it wasn't, I don't think it is specified. Let me just pull out the license
The
itself.
timing for the setup?
Yeah, and
I
takedown.
think
We
we
just
have
want to
to
make
Give it an
sure.
hour on each end.
An hour, that's usually what we do, okay.
We have from 3:30 to 10 p.m.
Oh, you've got
Okay.
more than enough
Okay.
time. Okay, so that would be in the motion. Are there any other questions? Okay.
No, no questions.
And just a comment that there
Yes.
is a police detail that's required.
Okay, yes, I see that.
Okay.
Okay, I move that we approve a one-day special license for wine and malt beverages for the Porsche Westwood event to be held on Monday, June 24th, 2019, pending favorable inspections and a police detail from the hours of 3:30 to
10 p.m.
10 p.m.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Okay, thank you for
Fantastic.
coming
Thank you
in.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you,
Have a
Dave.
good event.
Go Bruins.
Yeah, go Bruins. Everybody, we're moving this right along for that purpose. Okay, Joan Murray, come on down. Okay, next agenda item. We have in our meeting packet a discussion for engaging a consultant to assist the board in the process to hire a town administrator to replace Mike upon his retirement. And we issued an RFP early in May and received responses last week. And you're here to tell us what the recommendation is for the board to consider.
I am. I worked with Michelle Miller, our procurement officer, on this project, and we came up with a recommendation for a consultant who has really a tailored scope of services for the services that that his firm could provide for us. Really will work with us to design the process that will work well in Westwood. This firm has extensive experience with executive recruitment. They've worked with 35 towns since 2010 in various senior level searches. They currently have 5 projects ongoing, so they've got a really good eye on the current market. We'll be, working directly with the founder of the firm as well as, another senior member of the firm. The firm was very responsive, to our timetable to say we want to do a very thorough search, but we also want to, try to accomplish it relatively quickly if we can, and then very positive references. So it is the recommendation of the procurement manager and myself that we hire Community Paradigm to work with us in this search, which is obviously a very important search, unless, of course, Mike wants to change his mind and stay.
No? Oh, okay. Given he
Thanks
said
for the
nothing.
chance,
Any questions from the board? I think we all had a chance to talk to Joan, some offline.
We did. I looked up the website as well, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
John, you're all
yeah,
set?
yes.
So we also have a recommendation that the funding for this consultant would come from a transfer from the select board reserve account
That is correct.
during FY19, the fiscal
Yes.
year that we're currently operating in. So that's the other piece of this. And my one question, Joan, well, why don't we do a motion and then I'll ask you a question because it wouldn't impact the motion. Is somebody
Right.
prepared to make a motion?
Sure. Mike, just one question. One motion or 2 motions?
I think it's 2.
2? Let's do it as 2? Okay.
Mike, why is the 13 just paid from our reserve account? Like, I guess I didn't understand why we were transferring it out.
Well, the reserve account's just for you to put it into accounts where they can account for how it gets expended.
So when we transfer it, does it go to Joan's line item?
Yeah, I think you're transferring it into the selectmen's expense account.
Oh, okay.
And
That's where
it's
the
a tracking
payments are
issue
issued
that
from.
they're that they're doing it for.
Okay, so I move that we approve Community Paradigm as the executive search firm to assist the search for a new town administrator.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And I also move that we approve a transfer of $13,000 from the reserve account to fund the town administrator search.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. So, Joe, my question for you is next steps. What happens after tonight?
So I think the very next step is to let Community Paradigm know that we've selected them and to get them out here as soon as possible to meet with the select board members individually, other key people individually, and help us really think about what the process is going to look like here in Westwood for the search.
I just think the first step is the 3 of us.
Okay. So we
When you
should.
say other key people, like,
Well, ultimately, other key people would be involved, but we definitely need to get
Yeah.
we just want to get the process rolling.
Right.
And have them
I just want to
get
make
your
sure there's
input.
alignment here or not alignment, but at least we
Yeah.
Sure.
are marching forward knowing
Yes,
what the next steps are.
absolutely, absolutely, and I think that we'll, whether it's at 3.
Absolutely.
So from their proposal, they indicated about a 14-week process.
That's correct.
Okay. So that takes us through the summer into the September
Yes.
plus timeframe.
Yeah,
Okay.
give or take. I mean, in an
Give or take.
ideal
Yeah,
world.
which is aggressive. I mean, I'm assuming if at the end of 12, 13 weeks, we need
It
more.
was consistent across the proposals
Yeah.
that we received, so, give or take a few weeks.
Yep.
I think the point is, we're not looking at a year,
Right.
And they're available.
They're local, they're available.
Yeah,
I think that's
Yeah.
what's important, that it's not somebody saying we can't get to you until
right, exactly.
the end of the summer, for instance. So that's favorable. Okay, well, then we're all set. Please let them
Thank you.
know, and let them know we
You
look
bet.
forward to working with them.
Awesome, thanks.
Thanks,
Joan.
Joan.
Thanks, Joan.
Okay,
Tell Michelle we said thank you as well.
yeah, yeah, very good. Okay, the next item we have is release of first quarter capital. So as we usually do, we, after town meeting, approval of the various capital requests, we have the request just come past the select board for the okay to go ahead and fund. This was a process established back when we were in the economic recession, and there was concern that even at the state level, we might have funds cut off mid-year, and we needed to know we had enough resources. The good news is we aren't living in times like that, and the town has built up their reserves. But this process is in place for now, and maybe down the road we can consider whether or not we want to keep it. But for now, we have it in place. We have a request for about 80% of the total capital requests that went before town meeting and were approved. The total approved amount was $4,796,000. Tonight, we have a total request for funding during the first quarter of FY20 of $3,826,840. This crosses many departments, the municipal side for $1,070,000, school for $560,840, sewer for $1,050,000, various other items for $1,102,000, and ambulance for $44,000. I checked in with Pam, maybe others did as well, but having this proportion of the requests happen during the first quarter is our typical history, largely because many of the orders for vehicles go out right away, and a lot of repair work and things are done during the summer months when it's easier to get projects done, especially with the schools, but by and large, it's easier to get things done during the summer months. So that's why we're heavily weighted in the first quarter. Mike, anything you want to add?
Nope, that pretty much summarizes it.
Any
I'm
additional?
I'm fine with it. I spoke to Pam. I do think at some point, as part of a larger discussion, we should set a threshold. I mean, if 100% came in, would we be releasing 100%? Are we comfortable with that? So I'm fine with this, but it's 80% in the first quarter. So it's okay, we have the money and we feel good about this year, but I do think we should prepare for maybe when we don't. And as part of a larger discussion,
Yeah,
just
we'll
set
have a
some sort of
larger discussion.
threshold.
Mike, anything?
No, that's fine.
Okay. A motion?
Sure. I move that we approve the release of the first quarter FY20 capital totaling $3,826,840 to the various departments, contingent upon all procurement procedures and checklists are fulfilled.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. All right, very good. Now, the next item is a different one. We haven't had this come before us in a little while.
Okay.
Traffic rules and orders amendment. So the history, just a brief history, is that Westwood adopted in 1947, Chapter 40, Section 22 of the Mass General Laws regarding traffic rules and orders. And back then, it was for the regulation of carriages and vehicles and to set penalties for violations. Anyway, I won't go into further detail on that, but large changes have taken place 1995 and in 2016 before this board to make amendments, because we are the board that authorizes any changes, and we are the road commissioners. And tonight we have a request for approval of Schedule 3 changes, and Schedule 3 changes in our traffic rules and regulations addresses isolated stop signs. And the request before us comes from a series of neighborhood requests that Sergeant Sicard has received, but also having been reviewed. Nora, are you involved in that, or is there a committee that's involved with Sergeant Sicard?
There's the Pedestrian Bicycle Safety Committee that he sits on and often receives input from.
Okay, but otherwise the request comes from him. And he is presenting requests that I think not only address the concern raised, but related street stops to provide consistency. I'll read the locations of these requested changes. On Greenacre Road at the intersection of Pond Plain Road eastbound, Greenacre, Pond Plain Road westbound, Greenacre Road southbound, Greenacre Road, Pond Street northbound, Edgewood Road with Pond Plain Road intersection northbound, Pond Plain Road at Edgewood Road eastbound, Glen Road at Edgewood Road eastbound, Glen Road at Edgewood Road westbound, Stanford Drive at High Street northbound, both ends, Winter Terrace at Thompson Ave northbound, Briarwood Drive, Thompson Avenue eastbound, Mayfair Drive at Hartford Street northbound, Wildwood Drive at Hartford Street northbound, Webster Street at Dean Street southbound, and Hooper Street at Cobley Street westbound. And I think it's fair to say that it's been operating that people should stop, but for abundance of caution, we're being requested to approve the adding of these stop signs to have clarity regarding who has the right of way and where motorists should stop at the intersection that they're at. So it's a twofold thing, the stop sign to know who has the right of way and also where the stop line should be. And DPW will be informed about this because
Well,
they'll have to paint
install 'em,
lines
right.
and install the stop signs. Okay, so that's what we're being asked to do. Are there any questions or comments from the board? I don't have any.
So the Greenacre, Pond Plain, Edgewood, they're very wide intersections, and people have wanted them for a long time. Because the Stanford Drive one I find kind of odd, to be honest.
At High Street?
I mean,
But is there a problem doing it?
I mean, I guess not other than
You need to stop when you're at the top.
you have to stop when you come to the top. I just think it's a really scenic little road, and now we're just adding 2 stop signs. I guess I'm curious that this was driven by a resident, because I actually see residents coming forward and saying, why'd you put up these 2 stop signs? So could we just get a little more information on that?
Stanford Drive.
Yeah. And the other thing I would say is, I think it's great that we're doing these, but we need enforcement.
Well, you can't enforce them until you get.
No, I know, like, there's a lot of stop signs around town that we currently don't enforce, and so I just want to stress that we can add them, but the expectation on the police department will be that there's enforcement.
Well, and we only have 3 cars on the road at any given time. And I think, traffic rules and everything can't have people at every intersection enforcing. So what are you thinking enforcement should look like?
I think that if we could get one of those 3 cars to sit at Clapboard Tree and Pond occasionally.
They do.
And
They're at the synagogue quite often.
They are. I don't see many pulled over. Maybe that's me. But
Well, I
again,
do, 'cause I
you
can
do?
see it through my backyard.
This is interesting. So again, maybe if we could get data.
I see
we could get some-
police lights and people being pulled over right through my backyard all the time.
So we can get some data on how many stops a month. That would be
Okay.
great.
That is one of the intersections where they do. But I'm asking, what does enforcement look like at these streets? Because there are multiple ones and we don't have.
Right. So if you drive down Winter Street in Norwood, everybody hits their brakes when they cross the town line.
There are certain places that are
If you
commonly
drive up 27. So police in other towns have figured out that if they do these spot hits occasionally, the behavior of drivers will change.
Yep.
I just wish we could do a little more of that.
Okay. So you mean
So
writ
if we're going
large.
to add stop signs.
You don't mean that somebody's going to be at each of these intersections. That's what I was seeking clarity.
I'll leave that to the police department to strategize on how best to do it.
Okay.
I don't envision a police officer anywhere 24/7.
Yep. Okay.
So Mike, my only question was, do we have to have a public hearing on this? Because I know sometimes people are able to beat tickets if there wasn't a public hearing. And I know it's probably more at the state level, but I know if they change
I don't remember that.
speed limits and add some of these things, that there has to be a public hearing, or at least, and I see it's going to be published here, maybe that's all it needs is publishing.
I think it's the publication of it to alert people that it is. So it's listing them in. I mean, if you don't have them listed in your traffic rules and order, you can enforce it, like if you have no parking, if you have a no parking spot and you
Yeah.
try to enforce it and it's not listed,
Yeah.
they can beat it. If you have a speed limit that's not been listed, they can beat it.
Yeah, I didn't know if, I thought at some point I remember that,
I can
a public hearing.
verify
Or
that.
at least.
Yeah, you
it might
verify
just be
that, but I
publication,
don't
but
remember
I'm willing
us
to
needing-
approve it, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and if you find out that it doesn't, that's
Then
fine.
we'll just put it as a
Right,
public hearing,
correct.
but I don't believe that's
Because we've done
necessary. We're the authority.
periodic ones where, one stop sign or one parking space or a speed limit, not wholesale like this, individually without a public hearing.
Right, right, okay.
The guy will come.
I don't know, for some reason, I remember that sticking out as people being able to beat tickets because it was never published.
So I think with the exception of Stanford Drive, which, it's kind of hard to imagine not knowing who has the right-of-way at High Street. That would be good to understand Sergeant Sicard's thinking on that one, Mike.
Okay.
But otherwise, are we okay with
Yes.
going forward?
Yeah, we'll get more information on Stanford, and we'll get some data on
Yeah,
Clapboard Tree.
I'm gonna get some data, how often, they've.
How many times a month are we stopping people?
Are we stopping people? How many times are they assigning cars to go out and do checks on speed, on signs, and whatever they're enforcing?
Perfect, thank you.
So I move that we approve the amendment to the traffic rules and rules and orders, specifically Schedule 3 isolated stop signs with the exclusion of the Stanford Drive at both ends at High Street, and publish the amendment in a newspaper of local circulation to the general public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. Mike, would it be okay if we wait till June 23rd? Well, why don't we go ahead with this? I was going to say wait and see if we had Stanford Drive, but we might not end up doing it. So why don't we go ahead and
Yeah.
publish it and make these happen, not hold it up. Okay. All right, here we go. Yet again. I have to say, I look forward to this about the least of anything we do. Not
Without
because
this, what would we do?
it takes a long time, but that's because so the topic is appointments and reappointments and board vacancies. So I will lead with the new business item about advertising board vacancies, and then we'll go into a handful of additional appointments we can make tonight. And so that people viewing this and to proceed with advertising it are informed, we'll start with Community and Technology Advisory Board has 2 regular member vacancies. The Commission on Disability has 2 vacancies. Historical Commission has 3 vacancies. Pedestrian and Bike Safety Committee has 2 vacancies. And the Recreation Commission has an associate member position open. Yeah, I'll get there.
Okay.
I just happened to touch the wrong thing and I lost all my screen.
Page 24.
Now I just want to get back to this. Okay. So those are the ones that we want. Okay, I'll keep going. I thought it stopped at Rec Commission. Thank you. Westwood Cultural Council has 2 vacancies. Westwood Environmental Action Committee, 2 vacancies. The Zoning Board of Appeals, 1 regular vacancy and 1 associate member vacancy. And the Zoning Board of Appeals is slightly different than other commissions. Associate members can sit in a seat to actually hear a zoning appeal request. So it is an active role. And we have an example of the advertisement. I think this would be going into the Hometown Weekly, should go out in the Westwood Wire. If possible, if we can get onto the school department's newsletter or weekly.
It's ending soon.
It's ending in June.
Ends June 23rd.
See if you can get it in before
Yeah.
they're done. It would
For
be
their last one.
yet another opportunity, whatever we can do social media-wise to have it be known. And for people who are interested, you can email the Select Board office. The email address is selectboard@townhall.westwood.ma.us. You can go to the town's website to find that. And what we ask for is that you provide us with an explanation about your interest and why you're interested, and a copy of your resume, and submit that to the Select Board office, and we will consider you for vacant positions. And we hope to hear from people in the community, because if we didn't have a lot of people volunteering to be on these boards, much of the work of the town wouldn't be able to be done. So it's very important to have an engaged community participating. I'm going to turn this, I have a hard copy. I'm going to work with that. We have so much easier.
I know, when you.
This is always a
when you put 'em in,
challenge.
Can you turn them?
Yeah, because when we're on the
Because we
screen.
can't turn them on the screen.
Yeah,
I
I'm not sure
know.
how easy that is.
It's not.
Yeah, we have to
When you feed
flip.
it.
Okay. So there are only a handful that we'll take up tonight.
And those are. what
Let's
color?
go with the Local Emergency Planning Committee. We have Jack Lopez, or Lopes, I'm not sure how he pronounces it, who would like to be appointed as, yes, that's a reappointment. So we have that one.
Yeah,
If we go to MAPC, these are planning board
Yeah, we got
appointments.
two of the planning board
Steve
boards tonight.
Olenoff to be reappointed, and William DeLay to be appointed as,
alternate.
is he an
Alternate.
alternate?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, doesn't say that right here. MBTA Advisory Board, Steve Olenoff as the person to be reappointed, and William DeLay also as an alternate to the MBTA. I've already told Tish we need to follow up on the Pedestrian and Bike Safety Committee, so let's hold on that, because our narrative materials indicate that 2 people want to be reappointed, but on here it says they don't, so we're not really sure which way that's going. So let's hold off on that one.
Okay,
Three River Interlocal Council,
Trick.
David Atkins would like to be appointed, and Chris Paff as the alternate.
Okay,
We will not do the Town Facilities Task Force. We may just absorb that and not have it a standalone committee. Westwood Cultural Council, Margaret Hoyt Rustrian. Is that
Those
our?
are no, right? Red is no.
Red is no, thank you. Okay, so,
Yeah, it's easy
just
to
didn't
remember
say
the
no.
beginning until you start
yeah,
reading it.
okay, so that's just a handful. I've highlighted the
Okay.
ones that we would do tonight. Any
Has
questions?
the MBTA Advisory Board historically been majority planning board members?
It's always been.
Okay.
Do you want to comment, Nora?
Sure. So is it for as long?
That would be better.
Yes, good idea. Or he comes out and yells at us.
For as long as I can remember, Steve Olenoff has been the representative or the alternate to that, and the only one that attends on a regular basis. The meetings are held in Boston on a weekday, difficult to get to, and he has developed a certain level of expertise in transportation matters that no one else on the board has. So
Yeah, I don't necessarily have an issue. It's interesting. It's all planning board people, and
Well, the planning board has always made a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen for that position, and as long as Steve was on the planning board, they were recommending one of their own. But it doesn't have to be a recommendation, it doesn't have to be a member of the planning board that serves in that position. The Board of Selectmen is free to have anyone. There was a period where I think they tried having Mike be the appointed member, and
Yes.
it was just extremely difficult to get to
because
the
of the
meetings.
scheduling.
Yeah.
And are we capped at 4? Where does the 4?
It's 2. It's just 2. 'cause
It's a
2 are
member
going
and an
on.
Oh, I'm
Hold on.
sorry. Okay, I'm reading this wrong.
So, Mike,
Okay,
It's a primary
I got
and
it.
an alternate, yeah.
Got it. Okay.
I thought years ago we were trying to get Todd on the MAPC.
Yeah, same problem though, to get into meetings.
No, okay.
The in and out plus the meeting take up about a half a day.
Yeah.
And it's very necessary to be consistent and attend every one.
Right, okay.
And that way you do gain a voice to
Well,
represent the
it
town.
it just seems more like Todd would be involved in the planning of the area and figure out, but, okay. You're good?
I'm good.
Okay,
Ready for a motion?
a motion for the ones that were highlighted.
Yes.
How about that?
I move that we approve the aforementioned names for the Local Emergency Planning Committee, for the MAPC, for the MBTA Advisory Board, for the Three River Interlocal Council,
That's it.
and that's it.
That's it?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Next item on our agenda is a transfer of funds to the Westwood Media Center. This is a standard agenda item for us. And Mike, I asked a question earlier today. I'm not sure if you've been able to get an answer. We held off on doing this last month because we only had the receipt of funds from Comcast, and we were waiting for Verizon. So far, we're showing only one of the 2 Verizon payments that should be
Right.
received. Do you know what the status is?
They haven't sent us, as far as we know, they
That's
haven't
within
sent us the 5.2.1 payment. All we've received.
Can you
is,
find out what's going on? Because it would appear that this is the first time we've had
Yeah,
a delay that I can recall.
I can find out, yeah.
Yeah, so we should go ahead and approve the ones
Yeah, I
we have,
think we
though?
should. I mean, there's a
yeah, they rely
substantial
on the-
amount on the one.
Yeah. Okay, so what we have is 2 payments from Comcast to transfer, one for $20,414.62, the second for $3,266.29, and one payment from Verizon of $44,283.68 to be transferred to Westwood Media Center. Any questions or comments?
No?
Okay, motion?
Sure. I vote that we approve the transfer of $28,414.62 and $3,266.29 from Comcast and $44,283.68 from Verizon, totaling $67,964.59 to the Westwood Media Center for the licensing agreements and the Westwood Media Center agreements signed by the Select Board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Next item we have is a regulatory agreement with Pulte at Westwood Place. This is the condominium development taking place on University Avenue. We need to address the regulatory agreement submitted by them for the 10 affordable condominium units that are in total for phases 1 and 2 of Westwood Place. We have the documentation here. I guess I would turn to Nora and Mike. Is there anything you want to highlight for the record? This is pretty much a standard procedure for the approval of the affordable homes, a step in the process.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been reviewed by our housing agent, Sarah Bouchard, and she's reviewed it with DHCD representatives. Everything is fully consistent with the other affordable units we have in town. It will be 5 units in Building 1 and 5 units in Building 2. They're scattered throughout the building, impossible to identify as affordable units.
Will those units that are the 5 affordable in
They
each
will
building
be
stay as
the
those?
affordable units in perpetuity,
So if
yes.
somebody sells their condominium, that stays the affordable condominium?
That's right, and they can only sell it then to another qualified
Okay.
affordable
There's
That
a deed
homeowner.
rider that makes it a requirement that it either comes back to the town or the state for
Which
distribution
is
to a qualified buyer.
Just like single-family homes?
Exactly.
As we've run it.
Exactly.
And off topic a little bit, but when will Phase 1 be finished? When will occupancy start occurring?
They're hoping for July, sometime in July, for the first building to be occupied. They need to finish some cladding on the outside and finish a certain level of landscaping, but they're on target. And then the second building would probably be in the fall, perhaps late October. It's not
I
quite that
remember when it
firm.
was getting approved, and there was a question of would the second building ever be done?
Yes, yeah. There was a lot of
And-
concern that they
And
wouldn't
how would it
move
be
forward.
left if it
Yes.
wasn't done? And lo and behold, they poured the foundations, I believe, together, and then
They told us
very
they'd be
quickly.
3 months lag time, and there has been. So
Yeah,
we expect the
which
first
is-
one to be
that's great.
in July, second one October, November, sometime around there.
July this year.
July of this year.
Do we have any idea, Nora, what they're asking, or what the market value is?
So I know they started it as an average, some are 1 bedroom, some are 2 bedrooms
Right.
at around 550, but the current
Market.
ones that are being offered for over 6.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
high demand.
On the affordable units, though, the owner, when they sell it, they have to sell it at an affordable rate, but they can recoup some equity,
Yes.
right?
Yes, so there's a
It's just
deed
not the
rider
market.
that bases the sales price on a percentage of
Whatever
the
the
market
affordable
value.
rate is at that point.
Right, but there's also, so there's a percentage of the market value. Say your deed rider said it was 33% of the
Right.
value, you could have 33% of the market value. However, there is also a cap that's put in there in case that number rises too much. With some of the homes that we have, single-family homes,
Yeah.
the deed riders have capped them the deed writers have given them a percentage that would have grown well beyond what an affordable
What's
buyer
affordable,
could afford.
right.
So
we're trying to keep
Department
them
of
in a-
Housing and Community Development also imposes a cap that is the most that a family who qualifies as an affordable property owner could pay.
So that's
The
regulated as well.
inflation that's considered is the wage inflation, not.
Right.
Not
And
the housing.
is it your understanding the ones in July are all sold?
So I know that they had sold all of the units in the first building, but at some point, some people who purchased ones in the first building decided they would prefer them in the second building. There was a little bit of
Oh.
movement. So there may be a couple that are still
Oh, but for
available
the
in the
most
first
part,
building.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
it
they
was
have,
really
they have a
quick.
number sold in the second building, so
None
they've
of the
sold more
afford-
than 50%. They
None
have
of
not
the
sold any of the
affordables are
affordable
sold
ones.
because they needed.
They needed
Process.
this, yeah.
That's right.
So they'll enter this process
But
now.
for the market rate ones, they've sold more than 45 market rate units.
Wow, that's
Okay.
great.
All right,
So I move that we authorize the chair to sign the regulatory agreement as submitted by Pulte Homes of New England LLC
Second,
for
sorry,
for the units at University Station.
second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. It's actually called Westwood Place, then, maybe.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Nora. That's great, and extend our appreciation to Sarah for getting this done. All right, we have minutes, and I have to say, I looked at March 18th, and I gave Tish some edits. Some things just got too wordy, and I mostly struck a few words, but didn't change the substance.
I mean, 12
So I'd like
pages
to
was
have
too
that
long.
come
12
back.
pages was too long for you?
No, it wasn't that. It was minor in terms of the actual length of the minutes, but that's fine. So we'll bring that one back to another meeting, but April 8th,
Yeah.
can we approve?
Sure, I'm okay with that.
Sure.
So I move that we approve the Select Board's minutes of the April 8th, 2019 meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. So Tish will bring March 18th back, maybe with other minutes at the next meeting. Other business that may come before the board, I wanted to bring up something. Mike, I think it would be helpful for all of us, and given the discussion we just had about housing, that we receive some kind of report on where we stand with our housing planning. An awful lot of activity has occurred over the past year. A year ago, we had a funding item at town meeting to help address increasing our affordable housing count. The Westwood Lodge property went through the permitting process and has been approved, and part of that permitting includes the addition of affordable housing, and housing takes on more than just the affordable, but that's a big strategic initiative we had going. So I think it'd be really great if the team who's involved with housing could provide the board with some kind of report sometime in July. You know, I imagine there's a lot of information in different places, but something that's comprehensive in one place would be helpful.
Yep.
I think it would also serve us all well with you moving on, that we know exactly where we stand in a transition time.
Okay.
And we have, obviously, we have people who are with us, but I think that would be very helpful
Okay.
and probably address
So
some questions.
we
that-
do have, Sarah's currently putting together a plan with the Housing Partnership with regard to housing that will be submitted to DHCD, and we can augment that with some detail about some of the initiatives that we currently have going on and that we believe will be going forward in the near term to meet the gap that we project, but we're hoping not to have, but we project for
Yeah.
2020 census.
And as it relates to the article we had at town meeting a year ago, it'd be nice to know where we are in that and what the expectations or needs are in maintaining our town's controlled housing inventory, where we have affordable units. I mean, investing in those, replacing dated kitchens or bathrooms or something, we need to make sure that they're sustainable.
Yep.
So if there can be a section on that, I think it would be helpful for future funding requests that might come before us. Is that okay with
Sure.
everybody? Okay. Anything else anybody wants to?
I just want to hand this out, and it's just the election law. I just want to alert the board that there is a vacancy that has been created in the sewer department. A recently elected sewer commissioner has decided to leave town, and upon leaving town, as you'll see in this statutes, it means that they've left they vacated the office. And so that means that there's a vacancy in the sewer commission, which I'll remind you, since it's an elected board, needs to be filled by a joint meeting of the two bodies, the sewer commission and the board of selectmen, to go forward and appoint a person to fill the vacancy for the,
And the
until
vacancy
the next election.
until the next election, okay.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
So why
Okay.
why don't we include that in the advertisement?
We could.
Okay.
Trish, is that all right? You can add that one?
Public and press? Any public and press? Okay. Our next meeting will be on Monday, June 24th. It says the 24th. Today's the 3rd, 21 days, the 24th.
Okay.
And it's at 7:30 here in the police station. And anything else? Okay, a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.